Chapter 11. Mel.
Oh my God, the thing is huge,
Laurie said, transfixed by the footage on my iPhone in her hand. I watched it over her shoulder as she sat behind her desk in her office. Laurie Rudd was the managing editor at the Cape Cod News. She'd been around for a while, knew what she was doing, and was able to deal with all the shit the company and the public threw at her. I both admired her and wondered why she was still there. Norm and I were only occasionally asked to come to the main office, which is nestled between a bank and a pizza joint on Main Street in Hyannis. Every time I went there, I appreciated the fact that we were insulated from all the corporate crap by being stationed out in our satellite office. I spoke to Laurie the previous night about what happened at the fairgrounds. It took a while to convince her that something substantial had panicked the crowd. She told me she wanted to see my footage. I typically don't get up for anything at 6 a.m., but what happened last night was exceptional, so I dragged myself out of bed. The large Dunkin' Donuts cappuccino was the only thing keeping me vertical.
I thought you were talking about a little point of light in the sky. How did you get such good footage?
I was on the Ferris wheel, I said. I had a good steady shot of the V-shaped row of lights. In the video, you could hear people screaming, and, above the crowd noise, Ken could be heard repeating,
"Holy fucking shit! Holy fucking shit!"
Laurie sat motionless while the footage continued to play. The sounds of the crowd turned into complete pandemonium when the UFO filled the screen. Ken started up again, his voice clearly heard above the yelling.
It's a real live fucking UFO!
Who is that?
Someone I met doing my last story on the Truro UFO. We ran into each other at the fair. People could be seen running for the exits as I panned my camera around, trying to get as much of the action as possible. She said,
Yeah, I saw your piece on the Truro UFO. I assumed the officer was on something. I wasn't going to run it.
The cop was very distraught, I said. After last night, I know why.
What do you think this thing is?
I don't know. Military, maybe? It was heading in the direction of the base, I said. The footage ended. Laurie looked up at me and said,
I know they don't fly anything exotic out of there, since it's no longer an Air Force base. Mostly Coast Guard helicopters.
Gregory Collins, the editor-in-chief, stepped into Laurie's office.
I just spoke with the police chief. He says he got flooded with calls about a UFO last night, and the calls are still coming in this morning. He's concerned about a panic breaking out.
Laurie held up my iPhone.
We have footage of the thing right here. Belle was at the fair last night. She witnessed the whole thing.
She handed my phone to Greg, and he glanced at me. I think he vaguely recognized me. Greg has been in the newspaper business his whole life. He was in his late 50s, won a Pulitzer Prize for beat reporting back in 1994, and had been letting his career run on cruise control since then. I'd hardly spoken to him. He scrutinized the first minute of my footage.
Wow. I can see why people are freaking out. Do you know if the military had anything up in the air last night?
Not sure. I'll get Russell on it when he comes in.
My heart sank for a beat. Laurie was going to give this story to Russell fucking Holt, the brown-nosed prima donna who made me grit my teeth whenever our paths crossed. He's about my age, early 30s, prematurely baldy brown hair that he tries to disguise with hair illusion. I don't think he's ever had a missing button or a single wrinkle in his shirts. Several of us had to listen to him pontificate about his accomplishments during our last company team-building picnic. At one point, we had to call an ambulance for him when a hot burger patty slid off the bun and into his lap. Second-degree burns my ass. Apart from a reddened crotch, he was fine and enjoyed every bit of the attention. Russell was the assigned reporter for the Barnstable area, but he wasn't at the fair. He didn't see what I saw. Greg continued watching my footage.
Wow. It looks like a lot of people saw this thing. When did you shoot this footage?
About 9:30.
Did it make any kind of sound?
Nothing. He shook his head, mesmerized by what he saw.
We're going to be dealing with a shitstorm of questions.
There was a similar UFO over Truro last week. My brother said this one looked exactly like what he saw.
You didn't mention that in your report.
I couldn't use him as a source. He has privacy issues. Russell Holt appeared at the door.
We're already getting phone calls about the UFO over the Barnstable County Fair. I've started speaking to some of the witnesses to get a description.
Greg handed my phone to Russell and said,
We have some footage.
Russell seemed mesmerized by the images on the screen. He watched for a few seconds, with his mouth agape, then asked,
Who shot this?
I did, I said.
If this checks out, it'll probably end up on the front page.
I'll get started on it. How many words are we shooting for?
I thought, we? Is he planning to interview a fellow reporter? I was about to say something when Laurie spoke up.
I was thinking of having Melissa do the story. She was a witness herself. She got the footage.
I watched Greg's reaction, then glanced over at Russell. Our eyes met, and he frowned at me. He knew the story would be pretty big, and that I would be getting the candy he so desperately wanted. I thought, it's mine, you little shit. Greg nodded and said,
Okay, that works.
He pulled my phone from Russell's hands and gave it back to me.
You'll have no problem signing the release for your footage, right?
I nodded.
Put a copy on our servers and tell Bill that we're going to need a still from this,
he said as he headed for the door.
Holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit.
Emanated from my phone. Greg paused and said,
and tell Bill to edit that for content.
Russell, give Melissa your contact info at the base. We'll obviously be needing the statement from them. Melissa, if you need anything from me, let me know. We'll want this out first thing.
Russell stood there for a moment. I could see him struggling to maintain his professional veneer. Leaving me to follow him, he turned his back on me and headed towards his desk. I had never been to Russell's corner of the newsroom, but I'd have known it was his space in an instant. There wasn't a speck of dust in sight, and everything was aligned flush to the edge of his desk. His tenure plaque gleamed alongside his Youth Merit Award from the Rotary Club, and his especial pride that he never ceased bragging about, his Robert Arnold Community Journalism Award for his piece on wind turbine syndrome. He even had a framed photo of himself receiving the award from the old fossil who originated the award. Russell sat down at his computer, launched Outlook, and scrolled through his list of names.
The public affairs officer you wanted to contact is Daniel Peterson.
Okay, I said. Can you email his info?
It's right there.
He replied, pointing at the screen. Of course, that would be asking too much. I pulled out my phone, leaned closer to the screen. I saw him inch his chair back and created a new contact entry.
You did the Grass is Greener story about recreational marijuana sales.
Yeah.
You burned the lead.
What are you talking about?
We didn't learn of the potential site locations until the very end of the story.
The story was about the legalization of recreational marijuana, not where they might be selling it, and the places listed were only proposed sites, nothing definite.
People will want to know if a dispensary will be in their town.
Tell you what, when I find that out, the first ounce is on me,
I don't smoke that stuff.
he said, straightening the monitor. I scanned the office for a place to park myself and make some phone calls, away from Russell's desk. Maybe you should, I mumbled. There was a break room in the back. As I headed towards it, I said over my shoulder, Thanks ever so much for your assistance. I hoped he had heard the sarcasm in my voice. I doubted it. I sat down and called the number Russell gave me. A voice answered.
This is Officer Patterson.
Hi, this is Melissa Howard from the Cape Cod News. A UFO was sighted over Barnstable County Fair last night, and he cut me off.
Yes, we've been flooded with calls about that thing last night. We had nothing in the air that night.
I saw the thing myself. It was huge.
I can't comment on what you saw.
I'm not the only one who saw it or captured it on camera.
I don't have any comment.
Did the tower see anything?
They reported nothing unusual, just standard traffic coming in and out of Barnstable Airport.
How could they miss it? It was probably the size of a commercial airliner.
According to the FAA, there was nothing in the air over Barnstable last night that shouldn't have been there. They would have known about anything, because pilots have to submit a flight plan and get the necessary clearances.
Will anyone be releasing a formal statement?
There's nothing to say.
I could see the military stonewalling some wingnut who got worked up over seeing Venus following his car, but this was something completely different. How do you tell hundreds of people with cameras that they didn't see anything? I found the supply closet and grabbed a pad of yellow legal paper, and I had a lot more phone calls to make.